What's up, dreamers? Welcome back to the channel. And welcome to Zelena. This is my first city here in City Skylines 2. In the last episode, we left off with our main character, Alex, who reached the milestone of Grand Village. We established the core of the city, building a town square that everything will grow out from. Several essential services around the city were placed, to include water, sewage, power, and healthcare. We also expanded a lot of our zoning. Currently, here in the city center and up Main Street is the commercial zoning, along with some medium density housing. Eventually, when we unlock it, I would like to combine these and make some mixed use areas. Now, over to the left, we have our low residential, which is currently supplying the bulk of our population. It's going to continue to grow, but as we unlock more of the map, I would like to add newer neighborhoods in different locations. Now, our industrial area is down by the river, and it's going to continue to grow a little bit more. However, I would like to start adding a bit more specialized industry around the map. Also, this is where we're going to add in our train depot and our cargo station. One thing though that I would like to point out that I didn't mention in the last episode is that the location for the industrial area was chosen specifically so that town and the residential areas weren't downwind. This is so that we don't get any pollution that enters into the city or the residential areas and makes everyone sick. Okay, in the top right corner of the city, I want to continue with medium to high residential, building streets of row homes. Also, I wanted to take this time to give a reminder to please comment down below with any suggestions or recommendations that you might have. Remember, just like everyone else, I'm new to City Skylines 2, and I don't always have time to watch all the tutorials and the updates from all the other great creators out there. So if you have any recommendations that you've seen or that you know about, let me know so I can add it to the city. As well as if there's a direction that you want me to take this city or that you want to see the city go in, put that down in the comments as well. Don't forget, there's an entire backstory to this city. So if you want to see that, you can check it out in the pinned comment or in the description. But with all of that out of the way, today's goal is going to be trains. Our head city planner, Alexander Stroud, was sent here by the Verdonian government to establish and build a city from the ground up. One of his first goals was to provide train transportation to help get people from out of the overcrowded cities in Verdonia to this newfound land of Zelena. But before we can do any of that, let's check in on our citizens. So Alex, he holds regular town halls to get feedback from the new citizens of Zelena. Currently, the people seem to be pretty happy with their living spaces. However, there seems to be a lack of entertainment within the city. Alex already knew this was a problem, and it was something that he was planning for. He wanted to start adding parks to the city, but not just any parks, large parks. So this actually hasn't been possible until now, after completing all of the president's requirements to become a grand village. Using the saved development points, he got the building rights for large parks within the city. Okay, so this is going to be our main city park just north of City Square and along Main Street. Then I want to add in a large plaza just south of the square that we're going to use to connect Main Street to the residential areas. I think that these two parks add a lot in terms of recreation to our little town. Let's check back in with the people and see what they think. Awesome, with just two parks, the citizens are really happy. But I think we can do a little bit more. Alexander originally envisioned a city that's seamlessly integrated with the nature around it. He wanted the people to be able to walk from place to place and not necessarily need a car. So let's add a few connections to our parks and give citizens easier access. Okay, so the city park is nice, but let's plant a few more trees. You can never have enough trees. Alright, so the idea behind placing down a lot of these paths is one, to get people out and walking about, but two, hopefully cut down on a lot of the traffic before it even comes to the city. Alright, so with such fast development of the city, Alex saw that there was a lot of demand for growth. But this would have to be taken pretty slow and one at a time. To start, let's just add a few more streets of low residential, back behind the city cemetery. And then expand our medium residential by adding row housing. Finally, let's finish filling in all of our industrial area. Now, all of this, it's still not going to be enough, but it's going to allow the city to continue to grow as we add in more amenities. Speaking of which, with all that office demand, Alex knew that he had to start providing higher education. But before we can add in a college, we need a high school. So let's put that down. We're going to place it right here, just down from the residential area and not far from town square. This gives a good connectivity through the city plaza and over to Main Street. Though the high school is a bit far from the medium residential, they're able to take many of the new paths cutting over to Main, through town square, and then over. I also wanted to add in some lower cost apartments on the west side of North Main, giving a few options for lower income families. As well, it's time to start slowly expanding our row housing. Unfortunately, for the row housing, the area sits on a bit of a hill, so Alex contracted some heavy equipment operators to smooth out the land and give it a bit more of an even incline. Once completed, zoning and construction began. It was also time to add in a few more roads and housing to the main neighborhood. Alex knew that if he kept adding to the city, people would continue to come. And with more growth, we completed President Victor Biden's next milestone requirements. We're now a tiny town. And along with that, 5 new development points. We've also unlocked the rights to build mixed-use housing, which is what we were waiting for, as well as communication, which gives us access to mail and the internet. And that's going to be very important to the citizens of Zelena. So, being a tiny town, Alex reached back to the Verdonian government, and he petitioned that they send rail from the capital to Zelena. Firstly, to provide easier access to commercial trade, and second, to provide a way to get citizens here quicker and easier. And with that, his request was approved, and the rail line was built. He just needed to decide where he would build his stations. We left open a few really good places for the rail to go. Right here, above all of our industry, we're going to place the rail yard. And then a little bit further down, we're going to put in the cargo station. And then coming straight into town, we'll place our main passenger station, which eventually is going to be our grand central station for Zelena. That will carry citizens throughout the small and various towns in the surrounding area. To fully complete this, Alex had to purchase a bit more land to expand the city, so he could get the track in. Alright guys, so I'm still struggling a lot to learn these new tools. I really just need to sit down and take some time to practice on my own time and really figure them out. You know, they often say that it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. I'm just so used to the mods that we have in City Skylines 1, like Move It, Network Anarchy, and Network Multitool. Making curves seamlessly and perfect is really easy utilizing mods. And from what I hear, it's pretty easy in this game too. So that being said, I just need to practice some more and learn how to use these new tools. I tried really hard when doing this rail to make it look as realistic as I possibly could. And just like that, the city now has a cargo station, along with a train yard. Let's put in our passenger rail. So the plan is to utilize the entire map, making the city thin in places and having small towns and bigger towns spread throughout. So ideally, I really like to have each populated area connected up via train. Okay, so what do you guys think? I think it actually turned out pretty good, but I may need to go back and work on the terrain a little bit and fix some of the gradients and inclines of the rail. We'll keep an eye on it and see how it functions. I will say though, I love using these new assets. And the fact that you need a rail yard is pretty cool. I just think it looks awesome. Okay, so now that we have our stations in, we need to connect to the outside world so that trains from the capital can start coming into Zelena. We're gonna buy all the required tiles to make it out to the edge of the map. And then with our cargo station, we're gonna create a cargo line that starts from the cargo station, going out of the map, and then coming back into the cargo station. And then after that, we're gonna do the exact same thing with the passenger line. With the new connections from the capital here in Zelena, trains started making the route back and forth to deliver people and goods. Alright, looking back at the last milestone, we unlocked mixed-use housing. So, let's change out some of the buildings in Town Square. Mixed-use housing was absolutely one of my most anticipated features for City Skylines 2, so it's really cool to be using for the first time. Alright, something we need to address. In the last episode, there was a bit of miscommunication and misunderstanding. Alex presumed that in order to build highway ramps for the industrial area, he would need to reach the milestone of Small City. This actually isn't the case. Small City unlocks high-speed highways, but right now all we need is highway ramps, which Alex can get grants for just by using his development points. By adding in ramps right here, it should significantly help with the traffic by giving trucks direct access to these industrial areas without even having to pass through town. And really, they should be the only ones using it. There may be a few cars that use it to get over to the residential areas. However, they're going to be turning in the opposite direction, so they really shouldn't be affecting the traffic too much there. I'm probably going to go back in the next episode and add dedicated turning lanes to all of the exits. Again guys, just give me some time. I'm still getting used to these road tools. With Network Multi-Tool, it was just very easy and very familiar to me. I hear that this new continuous curve tool makes it easier to do these big curves like this, so I need to figure those out and get used to that. But even then, I'm very excited for the mod Move It to get into this game. Okay, back at that last milestone, Alex gained the access to communications. He wanted to go ahead and get post offices in pretty quickly, so the citizens could communicate with their friends and family back in the capital and in other parts of Verdonia. So a post office was put down and mailboxes were spread throughout the town. In the most recent town hall that Alex held, many of the citizens wanted access to the internet, which is pretty understandable. So he made sure a radio mast was put down to provide mobile data, radio, and TV. And in that same town hall, the people mentioned that they didn't feel safe because the city clinic did not have ambulance services. So that was also added. Before we wrap up this episode, there's a few more things that I wanted to do. I'm going to upgrade this road to a 4-lane road so it acts as a collector that separates the south and the north residential areas. Low residential demand is still really high, and with all the people coming in from the capital, we need to add new housing. So this is going to be our new neighborhood, or north side. And then the last thing I wanted to do for the episode is, you've probably noticed that we have a serious issue when it comes to our commercial. There's just not a lot of demand, and several businesses are complaining about not having enough customers. So for the time being, we're just going to take out some of them so that a lot of the local businesses aren't competing with each other and that they're able to thrive until we get enough people to supply the demand. And that's going to wrap up our episode today. Just to recap, we added several different amenities around the city, and we added in a passenger train station, as well as a cargo train station. We added new highway ramps that go down into the industrial area. And we added several new zoning throughout the city. If you guys enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you would leave a like and also drop a comment of what you thought about the city or any recommendations that you have. So far, I'm having a lot of fun with City Skylines 2, and I can't wait to see where it goes. I did want to say though, I do want to go back to City Skylines 1 and finish some of the series that I had going on over there. There's a Japanese series that I'm working on right now called Izanami Island, and it's a ton of fun, but a lot of work because there's a lot of detail that goes into it. Anyway, that's gonna do it for us this time. We'll see you in the next one. Catch you later.